Alright, so I did my project on propagation, which is just the reproduction of a plant from clippings. I chose mugwort as my subject and took a few clippings from the farm that I work at. Leaves more room for error if you have a couple of clippings, if one or several of them don't survive. And I put them in a cup of water, filled it just enough to cover the root, doesn't need too much. And this is after about a week or two. The root networks developed fairly quickly and got very long. Similar to hydroponics, the water gives the roots enough nutrients to root and develop networks, but in order to establish deeper root networks, I decided to plant them in soil after a couple weeks, once I decided that they were long enough. And I poked holes here so that I could just insert them in there, and I tried leaving enough space in between each one so that the root networks could develop and spread. Now that the mugwort is in the soil and getting other nutrients, it can go through the process of uptaking those nutrients through osmosis, where it creates a tension and sucks the nutrients from the soil in through the roots and up to the xylem, where it can be transported throughout the plant, and adhesive and cohesive molecular forces help the water to travel up against gravity. So here I added water, which is an experimental error, I believe, that we will revisit later. Basically drown them in water, but it did drain through the bottom, and I poured out the excess water, which you will see here soon. But this is what it looks like. The soil is very dark and highly saturated. So dumped out the extra water, and I transported it back into the same kitchen with the same indirect sunlight as before. This is after about a week of it being there. You could see very, very dark soil. It's already starting to die. The leaves of the herb, as you can see, it started to lose their color. Chlorophyll production slowed down. They started to droop over. Even after it had dried out, you could see they still didn't survive, I believe due to root rot. So they conserved their energy by not developing things like chlorophyll for color and braced for death. So clearly they didn't survive. The water took up too much pore space, I believe, so there was not enough room for air and therefore oxygen, which is needed for cellular respiration.